Hello, and thank you for choosing to listen to this webinar entitled Prescription for Life. So during this webinar, we're going to talk about how to actually put what you learn into practice when it comes to nutrition. So how to take action in making the dietary changes that you need for a healthy life. Not only a healthy life, but one maybe free of chronic disease. My name is Julia Wilkins from the Health Management Department at Health New England. And I'll let you know some ways that you can incorporate foods into your diet to lessen the chance of chronic disease, and maybe even while working with your physician, discontinue the use of some medications. So a question I want to reach out to you guys and ask are, what do you think are the 3 things in the average American life that could stop 80% of chronic diseases from occurring? That's a really high number, 80%. Well, the answer is smoking cessation, getting good enough physical activity, and eating well. If we all did all 3 of these things, we could eradicate about 80% of chronic disease. Think of what that would do for our quality of life. Think of what that would do when it comes to our finances and just insurance costs in general. So we really have the power through our daily habits and through the things that we like or like to do. We really have the upper hand to change our own health. And doesn't mean that you shouldn't work with a physician. And there's still that 20% of chronic disease that might be hereditary or for some other reason. But we really have a lot of control by stop smoking, getting more physical activity, and really revamping our diet to be able to stay healthy. In fact, when we really look about what we eat, it's so powerful that physicians are more recently starting to give out food prescriptions instead of medical prescriptions. The leading causes of premature death are heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, and dementia, all chronic diseases that could potentially be fought with what we're eating. When we look at food as medicine, it's definitely at a lower cost than medications, co-pays, deductibles, and so forth. And there's no medical intervention. So it's not a pill or a medical procedure or surgery. You can begin it immediately by going to the grocery store and getting what you need, and you usually feel results pretty quickly. You feel a lot better when you start eating properly. So like I mentioned, this is the perfect way to take health into your hands, a way to take control of your health where you don't need to rely on your doctor, pharmacist, surgeon as much for a temporary fix. We find a lot of times, even though some physicians are resorting to giving food prescriptions, we see also that changing your diet is sometimes the last resort. So now with this knowledge, we're able to step ahead of the game and keep ourselves healthy before these chronic diseases start coming on. If you've heard of Hippocrates, Hippocrates was a great Greek physician. He often was referred to as the father of medicine. And he came up with a method, with a way of thinking, years and years ago, around 400 BC. But he said, let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. And that's the whole basis of what we're going to talk about, is how what you eat can keep you healthy. So what's the data behind this thought? What are physicians finding among their clients? What they're finding is that really plant-based diets, and when I say diet, I don't mean a fad diet or something extreme. I mean what your food intake is. That plant-based diets can prevent, eliminate, stop the progression of, or even reverse conditions. And data shows that diet alone can do this without even addressing stress or physical activity. Now, changing up your diet is not a guarantee for this to happen. And you should always work with your physician if you're currently on medications, but we're given a lot of tools to learn and educate ourselves about nutrition and diet. But this isn't really enough anymore because we have to put it into action. We've probably listened to many nutrition seminars or read articles, but are we really putting what we learn into play? With that being said, physicians do admit that learning what you should eat can be confusing. Information about nutrients and food products is really led by profit. So food companies want you to believe that their product is best, buy their product, and new claims are always coming out and they often contradict each other. What we do know is that wholesome foods in sensible combinations are best. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that the higher the consumption of fruits and vegetables in someone's diet, the lower the incidence of heart disease and stroke, which are two of those chronic diseases that we talked about. Now, why does this work? What have we seen in the body when someone starts eating more fruits and vegetables? First, it can decrease and control inflammation. So inflammation is really the root of a lot of diseases, and it's a major contributor to the effects of aging. Inflammation can happen in your brain, in your organs, and is a response from the immune system when the body perceives that it's being threatened. Research also shows that obesity has a strong inflammatory component, so these go hand in hand, and a problem that now affects about 2/3 of all adults in the United States. Eating a good diet can also help balance your hormones. Hormones affect every part of your health, from your energy level to cognitive abilities, weight gain, sex drive. So if you have abnormal hormonal levels, this can accelerate aging, the onset of diabetes, obesity, fatigue, depression, low mental capacity, reproductive problems, and an array of other autoimmune diseases. Your diet can alkalize your body. So what does alkalizing the body mean? Well, the human body keeps a really tight grip on its internal pH level. It works hard to keep it around 7.5. But we're now finding that the processed low-quality foods that we commonly eat actually make our body more acidic, which allows diseases to thrive. Some people have been on an alkaline diet. This is something that's really high in plant food as well, and it helps with detoxifying and creating cellular renewal that might promote longevity. We can balance our blood sugar or our blood glucose. Diabetes and weight gain are tied to poor insulin response and other hormonal changes. So if we have a poorly managed blood sugar level due to consuming all these high amounts of sugar and processed carbohydrates, that leads to cravings and eating things that you shouldn't. Then you are fatigued, have neurological damage, mood disorders, hormonal imbalances, and so much more. So to sustain a normal blood sugar level throughout the day, experts really recommend that you have something that's low glycemic, which is also a plant food. We can eliminate toxins in our body. Toxicity is also tied to poor digestive health, which can decrease our liver function and cancer. Nowadays, we have so many not only processed foods, but chemicals in our diet, and the environment around us has chemicals as well, that we really need to allow our body to detox from these things. Lastly, it improves the absorption of nutrients. So a lot of today's illnesses are due to nutritional deficiencies. Those who are obese are actually sometimes found to have nutritional deficiencies because they're not eating the quality of food that they need to. The majority of processed convenience foods are stripped of their nutrients pretty much entirely, and they have fake ingredients with preservatives, very low in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, all those things that you need to do the 5 things that we just mentioned. As you take in this information about how eating well benefits your health, you want to ask yourself a few questions. And when you do this, you also want to consult with your physician about making any kind of diet or medication changes, especially if you have a chronic disease currently. Never stop taking medication without their approval. So ask yourself some of these questions. What diet or way of eating is best for my health? Do I currently have or want to prevent any chronic diseases? What lifestyle changes can prevent disease? How can I work with my physician? And how drastic do you want to be? And that's a really important question. You want to determine how much effort you want to put towards eating well. It may seem like a drastic change to you compared to your current diet, but consider some of the following statistics. The Wellness Council of America put together some data, and they found that healthcare is costing us $2.5 trillion annually. Remember how I said about 80% of our chronic disease could be eradicated through our lifestyle decisions? So imagine how much we could cut down on this cost. 1.2 million people have coronary stents, which is helping prevent heart disease due to blocked arteries. 500,000 people get bypasses every year. and $25 billion is spent on statin drugs every year. These numbers, 2.5 trillion, 25 billion in costs, are so high on something that we can control. We find that over 85% of people who actually alter their diet reduce or eliminate medication use. And that includes probably eliminating bypasses and those coronary stents as well. If we look around the world and see what kind of practices different cultures have, we found that there are top 4 places that have the oldest populations, but they all had different diets. These populations also had the least amount of chronic disease, the greatest vitality, choose to eat foods closest to nature. They don't go for any fad diets or buy packaged foods. One of the groups has a high fat diet, another a low fat with high in veggies diet, the third has a low fat protein with veggies diet, and the last one chooses to be vegan. So we don't recommend any of these specific diets for you, but what we do instead is look at the habits from around the world and see what do they all have in common. And that common denominator is always they have a diet based on fruits and vegetables or plant-based foods. We're all born with certain genes, but by consuming certain foods, we can actually impact our genes' environment inside the body and the chance of whether they will breed disease or not. So by stepping away from our habits here in America on how we eat and looking at other cultures, we can really learn how to live longer and live with better quality of life. Whether or not you should have supplements is kind of a debate. What's better, supplements or whole food? Right off the bat, I will say that supplements aren't bad, but it is always best to choose the whole food or whatever's closest to nature. Whole foods have greater nutrition. They're complex and contain a variety of micronutrients that your body needs. They also have a lot of essential fiber. So whole foods such as whole grains, fruits and vegetables, legumes, they provide dietary fiber. And as part of a healthy diet, fiber can help prevent disease such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and can also manage constipation. Thirdly, they're protective substances. Many whole foods are also great sources of antioxidants. What this does is slow down the natural process leading to cell and tissue damage. It's not clear that antioxidant supplements offer these same benefits. So you may still need to take a supplement or choose to take a supplement, but if you do, think of these things. You want to talk to your doctor. So some supplements can cause harmful effects if taken in certain combinations or with prescription medications, certain times of the day. But if you have a medical condition that can affect how your body absorbs nutrients, talk to your doctor and see if choosing supplements are a good idea. You also want to check the label. So product labels can tell you what the active ingredient or ingredients are, which nutrients are included in the supplement, the serving size, and so forth. Also watch what you eat. You never want a supplement to replace vitamin-enriched foods. Vitamins and minerals are being added to a growing number of foods, including breakfast cereals and beverages. So if you're taking supplements, you may be getting more than you realize from certain nutrients. Taking more than you need is expensive and isn't always the best for you. With saying that, you want to try to avoid mega doses. So taking more than the recommended daily value can increase your risk for some side effects. And children are especially vulnerable to this. So if your children are taking any multivitamins or supplements, again, check with your physician to make sure that it has the best quality and quantity. When I mentioned how drastic you wanted to be in incorporating fruits and vegetables into your diet, there's something that you want to recognize. Recognize that everyone is at a different place in their health journey. You may have a friend who is vegan and most of her diet comprises of fruits and vegetables, lean protein, but is that where you are on your health journey? If not, that's okay. You always just want to work towards improvement. Work on adding things into your diet that are beneficial for you. According to doctors from the Mayo Clinic, not only is everyone at a certain journey, but they also believe that there's a place for practicality and enjoyment. So are you on vacation? Do you have a favorite food? Is there a birthday party coming up? If you're okay with not having that piece of cake, then that's fine. But if that's something that's going to affect your quality of life, you want to consider how strict you want to be with your diet. Changes should be made in small amounts. That's what makes them more sustainable, and that's how they become part of your lifestyle. So evaluate your current diet and see where you can add first. So you always want to try to add healthier foods into your diet first before you start taking away. You can start to focus on 4 areas: incorporating those fruits and vegetables, getting healthy fats from things like avocados and nuts, cutting out the processed foods, and really decreasing the amount of sugar that you consume. A study done in 2012 by the National Center of Biotechnology Information linked the consumption of fruits and vegetables to reducing the risk of hypertension, cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer, and dementia, all part of the diseases that we mentioned early on. It also can prevent weight gain that's usually linked to type 2 diabetes, and reduces the chance of eye disease, osteoporosis, asthma, COPD, and rheumatoid arthritis. These are all the effects of getting a diet high in vitamins and minerals. It's also important for the metabolic process. So the metabolic process is the breakdown of food molecules that we eat. This then provides energy to the cells for daily function. So we need a quality metabolic process and quality food molecules to break down. Fruits and vegetables are full of phytonutrients, which are a chemical that plants use to fight off their environment. So we are able to fight off our environment by increasing our fruits and vegetables because we're consuming more phytonutrients. It has a lot of anti-inflammatories, which fight disease, and antioxidants. Because of the high fiber levels, not only are you increasing the health of your digestive system, but fruits and vegetables can also make you feel fuller faster and sustain you for a longer period of time. So the more the better, the more you can incorporate into even your breakfast or snacks, the more the better. You may ask, if I'm going to increase my produce intake, what kind should I get? So there's a lot of talk about organic, GMO or not. Should I buy local? Currently, research hasn't proven any nutritional differences in non-GMO versus GMO foods. Organic can be cleaner if you're worried about pesticides, but you don't have to buy everything organic. Always be on the lookout for new and reliable sources for your information when it comes to these types of foods. Local's great because you are supporting farms in your neighborhood, but a lot of these things are moral and environmental issues that you need to make a personal decision on. To really get the biggest bang for your buck and all these benefits here, you want to try to get about 5 to 8 servings of fruits or vegetables per day. Once you slowly incorporate more fruits and vegetables, now you want to think about how to add some healthy fats. You may have heard that healthy fats can increase your mental health because they're great for the brain. This is true, and therefore they can also help to prevent dementia and Alzheimer's. But healthy fats play an even bigger role in disease prevention. The cell membrane's most important job is to protect what is the inside of the cell from its environment and regulate what enters. Healthy fats help it do this. They lubricate skin and can help your body use glucose properly because burning fat for fuel is more beneficial than burning glucose. They help our blood glucose levels remain stable. They increase the joint and gut health because, like they lubricate the skin, they can also lubricate joints and intestines. Healthy fats promote the growth of healthy gut bacteria, and this is especially true of omega-3 fatty acids. So that immune system is strengthened by the absorption of these nutrients. Healthy fats aid in absorbing fat-soluble nutrients that our body needs to decrease inflammation. This picture here shows some examples of foods with healthy fats, things like olive oils, nuts, avocados, fish, omega-3s, and you want to get about 2 servings per day. The third change you might want to make in your diet is to remove processed foods. Processed foods are really high in saturated and trans fats, and trans fats increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Reducing saturated fats in our diets can also lower the consumption of LDL, which is our bad cholesterol, so it can lower cholesterol levels. Processed foods are high in sodium, which is linked to high blood pressure and the risk of stroke and heart disease. They're also high in sugar, which causes your body to crave more and get a little bit addicted to the additives and the flavor. Artificial ingredients include preservatives for shelf life, colorants, chemicals, things to change the flavor and the textures. And this is so far from consuming food closest to nature. Not only are these high amounts of sodium and sugar added, but all the nutrients that we talked about that are beneficial for us are usually found in low amounts when it comes to processed foods. They're digested quickly, so you will feel hungry quickly after eating them, causing you to eat more. And if it's again a processed foods, the cycle starts all over again. They can increase cholesterol and also increase the risk of cancer. Processed foods are things like processed meats, bacon, deli meat, and so forth, and even granola or protein bars, dried fruits, flavored nuts, margarine, condiments. Little things that we thought were healthy for us can actually have a lot of preservatives or chemicals added to them. And the more obvious processed foods include fast food, frozen dinners, cookies, candies, and baked goods. Lastly, we'll talk about decreasing sugar. So why is decreasing sugar even an issue? Well, Americans consume about 20 teaspoons of added sugar per day. That's about 2 to 3 times the recommended amount. So this doesn't include natural sugars found in fruit or any other foods. Over a whole lifetime, imagine the issues that you can have with your teeth, joints, brain health, liver, heart, kidneys, and body weight by having 2 to 3 times the recommended amount of sugar. These are all the things we're trying to keep healthy by consuming wholesome foods and not taking medications to improve. Sugars put stress on the metabolic system, on those food molecules that we consume and how your body uses them. It increases the glycemic load that we put on our body, and when we do this time after time, the pancreas won't be able to keep up. And sugars are hidden in a lot of things like breads, pasta sauce, protein bars, and so forth. Sugar is high in calories and really has no nutrient value, so that's why it can be toxic to the body. It's linked to obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, cognitive decline, and fatty liver disease when we have it in excess. We discussed finding that place for practicality and enjoyment, so if that includes eating sugar, make sure you're doing it in moderation. Now you've learned that what you consume can really affect chronic disease, and you've heard about 4 ways to really help that in your diet. You can take the Prescription for Life Challenge. And what this is a tracker that allows you to slowly add things or take things away from your diet week by week. You start with adding fruits and vegetables, then you're going to add some healthy fats. 3rd week, you're going to remove processed foods, and in that 4th week, you're going to focus on decreasing sugar. It may take a lot of dedication, but remember those statistics and remember how we have most of the control of how our body can perform and age. Thank you for listening to this webinar about Prescription for Life. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at healthydirections@hne.com. Thank you and have a great day.